Three.
Good afternoon. I'm Ambassador John W. McDonald, the Chairman and CEO of the Institute for Multi-Track Diplomacy. It's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon and talk about some of the things that happened in South Africa. We're all thinking about Mandela these days and what a great person he was in the history of the world, and I'm a great supporter of all the things that he did for the country. But there's another man that nobody seems to remember. His name is President de Klerk, and both he and Mandela got the Nobel Peace Prize in 1994 together. But very few people really mention him, and I give him great credit for doing something that very few people seem to know about. A year or so before Mandela was released, he, de Klerk, set up a national association on conflict resolution. And he spent some $60 million setting up over 100 villages and towns across the country, conflict resolution centers. And they trained people in these skills. And for me, this was one of the major things that ensured that when the ANC began to take over, there was no bloodbath. After the ANC took over, unfortunately, they shut down all but one of those centers, which I think was a big mistake. But they did create something called the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. And I think that that was another major piece ensuring that there was peace in South Africa after apartheid. What that group did was actually they put truth before justice. And that meant that when the Boers who committed many of these crimes had come before the commission and testified to what they had done and admitted their guilt to the public, they were excused and were not prosecuted. And many of the victims who came also told the stories, and they were put together. But the idea of putting truth before justice was quite unique in the history of the world. And for me, that was one of the great tributes to Mandela and to the whole government of South Africa, and why peace is still there today. Now, the country of Liberia, to the north, after 15 years of civil war, finally set up a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. But they put justice before peace. And so anybody that would come to testify about what crimes they'd committed would be sent to jail. So not surprisingly, nobody who committed a crime showed up. The only people who showed up were the victims. And that's the difference between the two approaches. Now, many people today in 2013, say, oh, that was a terrible system in South Africa because they should have gone to prison. But what they don't realize, having not being there at the time, and most people that criticize the system don't understand how it worked, was that reduction of violence was critical to the safety of the future generation. So that's my story.
Well, thank you.